I think that's very well said, Paul. It reminds me of a comment that the president of the Student Government Association made yesterday to the trustees when she was reporting about the students' deliberation on this project. She said, "We're not unanimous yet. There are some students who have voted against supporting this project." She said, "They really do support it. They just don't know that yet." And so that's the problem that Paul is talking about. But let me use the analogy of the science facilities at Gateway Park. It's a very open environment, and we have deliberately put social space in there. Tables where people can sit down and have lunch together, coffee pots, ways to encourage, almost require people to run into each other in the course of their work. Because so often, the innovative idea sparks out of a conversation that's had over a cup of coffee or over a casual lunch or over a casual interaction of a more social nature in its beginning than bearing down at the lab bench and staring into that test tube and determining whether or not you're seeing what you hope to see. The same is very true, I think, about the work that the students do in the Great Problems Seminar that I talked about at the beginning of my remarks. This group of freshmen that have been through this program were asked how they felt about it. And one of the comments that I thought was so telling was a student who commented on how she appreciated the friendships that were formed in working on the projects in that very demanding seminar. Think about that. The friendships that were formed in the course of work. That's really the way life proceeds, but that's typically not what happens on a college campus. You go to class, you sit in a lecture hall, you take notes, and your goal is to be able to pass the exam at the end of the month by being able to feed back what you heard in the lecture or what you read in the textbook. That's not how the real world works. It's not how WPI works. What we care about here is what you can do with your knowledge, not how much you know. Right? So now we come back around to physical activity, and I go back to the comment that was made the other night by Professor John McNeil when he gave a very interesting after-dinner talk to our Board of Trustees. John McNeil on our faculty in electrical and computer engineering is a very accomplished amateur golfer. And he gave a rendition of about 45 minutes worth of looking back on a number of golf tournaments that he had participated in, and he traced his performance. He actually put up his scorecard for each of those tournaments and talked about the holes where he did well and the holes where he did poorly and what it felt to wind up in the sand trap and so on. And every time he finished his anecdote, he would tie it back to a life lesson that he then projected on the screen. And at the end of it all, he tied it together by saying, it's really all about high achievement, whether you're doing research in electrical engineering or whether you're on the golf course or whether you're leading a program in your church. It's the habit of always achieving at your absolute best. That's a habit of mind, that's a habit of practice, and that's very much what sports, recreation, and fitness are about, just like the game of golf, when you're competing against yourself to see what you have left that you can produce and at how high a level you can achieve. And that's very much what's going to be going on in this fitness and recreation center. People coming together for the experience of achieving at a very high level, together in teams or individually. That's what human development is about. When we talk about educating the whole person at WPI, we're thinking about not just academic capabilities, but it's all those life skills that you want to develop. And most of all, it's that ability to think about your place in the world in a very complete and comprehensive way that has a lot to do with all those people around you. And boy, there's going to be a lot that has to do with those people around you as our students and our staff and our faculty enjoy this recreation facility. I think it fits right into the academic philosophy of WPI and will contribute mightily to it. And I thank you for the question, Paul, and for the commitment of your 50th class reunion to the project. Other comments? Yes.
I want to applaud the university's continued commitment to interdisciplinary studies. I think that's critical. And the comment, the phrase that you use, the intersection of technology and society, I think it's key, particularly for the upcoming generation of students. I see a clear commitment to broader social issues outside of education. As a DC native. All too often I see a lot of policy on the Hill being driven by issues other than science and good research.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any movement of the university to try to influence policy, to try to help students understand policy so that the good work that's being done here that can truly make a difference will have a chance to make it on the Hill and ultimately affect people's lives?